Hi, so today what I'm looking at is update to my quiz quadratic complex roots, and just a small change. I've added fraction or non-integer solutions to these questions. And so what we have on the board here, let's get into this. It's 9x squared minus 12x plus 328. And what I'm going to do, I've went over this in some other videos, and I'm going to use Vieta's formula. I won't fully go into the background on it, but I'll give a link to the previous quiz where I explained a little more details on Vieta's formula. But to start with, what we do is we're gonna say for a quadratic we have two roots, which we'll call alpha and beta, and the sum of the roots will be 12 over 9. And just to we'll tell you this. So we have a quadratic of the form ax squared plus bx plus c. Then Vieta's formula tells us that alpha plus beta is going to be negative b over a, and that's the sum of the roots. The product of the roots will be just c over a. So we'll use that to solve this. Okay, so continuing on, we have the sum of the roots being 12 over 9. I won't reduce it yet because sometimes it's kind of easier to just leave it. So let's get the product of the roots. Alpha times beta is c over a, which is 328. I'm already out of room here. That's silly. 328 over 9. Yeah, let's reduce this and take a 3 out of it so that we get 4/3. That's fine. And then for the next step, what we'll do, the next step is kind of like Poh-Shen Lo's method, where we we look at these roots. So for a quadratic, we know that when we have two roots, we can look at these roots. We can look at alpha and divide it by 2. We can look at the two roots as differing by a single factor we'll call u. So we can just write this like 2/3 plus u and 2/3 minus u. And then once we have that, what we can do is we can multiply those together like this. So we can take our first root, 2/3 plus u, and multiply by 2/3 minus u. That's the product of the roots. But we know what the product of the roots is. It's 328 over 9. So we can set it equal and solve for u. Okay, cool. Okay, so we'll just multiply this out now. And we'll get 4/9 minus u squared equals 328 over 9. And we can just subtract 4/9 on both sides. We get minus u squared equals 324 over 9. And that's nice because the top and the bottom, the numerator and denominator are both perfect squares, but we do have this minus sign. But we can take the square root on both sides. And we're going to get, I'm just going to go, this is going to be plus or minus 18/3 I, which is going to be plus or minus 6i. Okay, so the square root of 324 is 18. The square root of 9 is 3. But we have this negative sign. So that's where we're getting our I, although my I is pretty bad. Let me clean that up a little bit. It still looks the same. All right, let's do better. There we go, that's an I. Okay, so our U value is plus or minus 6i. And then if we go back to our definition, how we set up alpha and beta, we're saying alpha is going to be 2/3 plus or minus, well, no, just plus 6i, and beta is going to be 2/3 minus 6i. And then we can also write this like this. That's our answer. So we come back over to our quiz, take a look and see how we did. That's correct. So this quiz it'll be a mix of complex and real solutions. And also, I think we also have repeat roots in here. If you look in the help, there is some different methods that I give. I give the basics on Vietas Formula, a like overview on Poh-Shen Lo method. I don't know where like Vietas Formula starts and Poh-Shen Lo's method ends, or like I don't know exactly how you define that. I kind of use a combination of both. Although I don't think you can use Poh-Shen Lo's method without Vietas Formula, so I guess I'm using my own little twist on Poh-Shen Lo method is pretty much, I guess, the way I do it. Um, but I also give a description of completing the square and quadratic formula, of course. I prefer this method that I used here today, but I will use other methods from time to time. And like, there are times when the quadratic formula is just easier, I think, because you know that what I just did is going to be so messy that you might as well just use the quadratic formula. And then there's times if something's really simple, you can just kind of factor it by feel. If it's like real solutions usually, or something really obvious, you can just factor it. But all right, well, that's it for now. I will give a link to this quiz, and I think I can give a link to the previous video where I went over Vieta's formula in a little more detail. Thanks.